Hey guys, I got a haircut. This is yet another video about werewolves. Why another video about werewolves? Because you guys seem to like videos about werewolves. But more importantly, so do I. This report took place in France, and all the names are French, so before I begin, I would just like to say that I will do my best to pronounce them correctly, but I can't say I'll get them 100% right. Also, while I was researching this report, it turned out to be a lot more graphic and violent and gruesome than I expected, so I actually left out the most gruesome parts, but you guys can always look that up for yourselves if you would like, hence the name of the gruesome report. So, let us begin. I am Poetic Heretic, and this is a report entitled Gruesome Grenier. Most people think of tales of werewolves as the stuff of legends, and I am no exception, but the story you are about to hear is an actual documented court case from 1603 with multiple witnesses testifying about the crimes of allegedly real werewolf Jean Grenier, a boy of only 13 at the time who is said to have committed the most gruesome murders. Whether he was indeed a supernatural creature or he and the others involved suffered some mass delusion shall be left to the viewer to decide. The story of Jean Grenier took place in southwest France. It began with a reign of terror in the form of many mysterious disappearances, often of children. Throughout the land spread many rumors of wolves, and sometimes of something much worse. This story is among the most compelling, real cases ever of lycanthropy. An investigation and trial was initiated in the midst of the madness when the local fear was at its most intense. This was in May 1603, either the 9th or the 29th, depending on which source you believe. The trial involved 3 witnesses. The first was 13-year-old Marguerite Poiret. She often tended sheep with Grenier, who avowed his being a werewolf to her. He also told her he had killed a number of dogs and ate some of one but preferred small children. Even though it was also Grenier's job to tend sheep, he was often caught slacking off. Poiret said one day she was suddenly attacked by a ferocious beast while looking after her livestock. She defended herself by attacking it with her staff, causing it to leap away from her, stand on its hind legs, and sneer menacingly at her. The look on the beast's face disturbed her so much that she ran away in terror. While it was wolf-like, she noticed it didn't actually look like an ordinary wolf. She eventually concluded, of course, that it must have been Grenier. The second significant witness was another girl named Jean Grenier, aged either 10 or 18, again depending on which source you believe. She had been looking after some livestock with some other girls one day when Grenier approached. He asked them which was the prettiest because, whichever one was, he wanted to marry her. The oldest girl there asked Grenier about his father, to which Grenier declared, "I am a priest's bastard." Later, when Grenier was arrested, they found out his father was not a priest but an impoverished laborer. Asked about being so tan, he said it was from the reddish wolf pelt he always was wearing, given to him by Pierre Laboureux. When the girl asked about this man, Grenier described him as a man who kept people burning in his house on chairs, beds, and ovens while others roasted. The man's house had big dark rooms, and he wore an iron chain necklace. I suspect Gabarou was indeed 18 because if she was the one to speak to Grenier that day, while the others just listened, it would follow that she would be the one to testify. Grenier claimed the wolf pelt enabled him to shapeshift into any animal he wanted, including a wolf. He transformed on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and he roamed with 9 others religiously. He was first arrested due to these admissions, and during interrogation he admitted to committing even more crimes. Jean Grenier described meeting a man named Pierre de la Tulare, who informed him of another man who wanted to meet him in the forests of Saint Antoine. Both Tulare and Grenier went to the forest, where they encountered the tall man in black on a black horse in the bowels of the forest. The man kissed them with frigid lips. It is unknown how long this meeting lasted. As the strange man rode off, he somehow made them swear he would return to him, or they would return to him, if he ever sent for them. Questioned further, Grenier said they first met the man 3 years ago, when he would have been 10 or 11. He also said they had sought out their master 3 times by entering the forest, where they found him. The alleged werewolf affirmed his guilt of all the crimes he was accused of, except for drinking the blood of a particular dog he killed. He added that one time he entered an abandoned house to find a baby in its crib, which he then proceeded to devour most of and leave the remains to another wolf. Another time he ambushed a young shepherdess in a black robe and feasted upon her flesh, and as before left her remains to another wolf. Interestingly enough, he testified to taking off her clothes as opposed to tearing them off prior to killing her. A normal wolf would not be able to do so, but a werewolf would. The little beast claimed when he wanted to take wolf form, he would wear his wolf pelt, a dark gift from the Lord of the Forest himself. The Lord also gave him a jar of ointment that he would rub onto his skin prior to transforming. He usually hid his clothes in the bushes. After some time had passed, the court launched a second investigation based on their gathered evidence. It was found that the time frame of murders in the village Grenier mentioned matched that of his claims. Let me emphasize that. The times reported by the villagers of each disappearance matched exactly what Grenier testified. He also informed the court that sometimes his father accompanied him on his twisted expeditions. Once the two of them dragged and devoured a girl herding geese. This was 2 years earlier from the time of his testimony, however, and eventually Grenier only hunted alone. The Lord forbid him from using his left hand's claw to commit his strings of unsolved murders. He also told Grenier he was watching him every time Grenier took on the form of the wolf. Authorities arrested Pierre Grenier, the father, though he was released from court due to no further incriminating evidence. Pierre de la Tulare, the young man who originally took Grenier to see the Lord of the Forest, fled and was never found. The judge believed Grenier suffered from some psychological disorder and was not actually an agent of the devil. Jean Grenier was sentenced to lifelong servitude at the local monastery. After this, sightings of a strange canine creature were reported in the area, biting people and animals to death, but it was never caught. Upon his first arrival, Grenier rampaged through the monastery on all fours, eating only raw, bloody intestines. Demonologist Pierre de Lancre visited him 7 years later. De Lancre described Grenier's eyes as dark and menacing. More disturbingly, he had fang-like teeth and claw-like hands. He highly enjoyed talking about wolves. Grenier told de Lancre the Lord of the Forest had come to visit him twice in the monastery, but each time he warded the Lord off with a cross. De Lancre asserts the name Grenier or Garnet, for whatever reason, appears to be a typical name for werewolves. Soon after this, Grenier died in the monastery in 1610 at the age of 20. As far out and apparently inexplicable as all of this may seem, Grenier's bizarre existence may have been due to a disease such as porphyria, which causes delusions, skin discoloration, as well as photosensitivity. Another explanation is pica, caused by an iron deficiency. It makes one desire the consumption of non-food items like dirt, or perhaps the flesh and blood of humans and animals. Though these diseases may not explain Grenier's every oddity, it is always important to maintain a healthy degree of skepticism and rationality when examining these matters. So, was Grenier really some kind of supernatural creature lurking in early 17th century France, killing unsuspecting victim after unsuspecting victim as a werewolf? Even after all the research I have done for this report, I can't say I really have come to any conclusion about what he was. Also, after more than 400 years, one has to question how reliable the information that remains to us is today. One thing I remain firmly convinced of, however, is that there is much more to this world that we inhabit than most people realize. So who knows, maybe Grenier really was some kind of murderous human wolf beast, and perhaps there are other Greniers alive today, roaming the woods and countryside, just waiting for someone to wander a little too far from safety into the ominous shadows of night. That concludes this report. Thanks for watching.